Welcome to the Warrior Quarterback Show. My guest today is Nick Tiano, University of Tennessee-Chattanooga by way of Mississippi State University. Really excited to have you. Today we're going to get you on the board. We're going to talk some X's and O's. We're going to talk about an exciting week at the NFLPA Collegiate All-Star Game where you won the MVP. We're going to talk about your love of football and growing up being a quarterback and talk a lot about who you are and kind of compare you to some current quarterbacks and hopefully be able to enlighten some NFL personnel people on who you are and what you're about. So, Nick, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited about it.
So, Nick, congratulations on playing in the NFLPA Collegiate All-Star Game. Heck of an honor winning the MVP award. What was your week like?
Yeah, no, it was an incredible experience for me. Obviously capped it off with the MVP. That was awesome. Just perfect way to end the week, but it was a great opportunity for me. All small school guys, there was a lot of us there to kind of get to play on that stage in front of the scouts and coaches, kind of the eyes that are on us. It was a huge opportunity, so just try to take advantage every day and enjoy it, soak up as much as I could.
So during this week, obviously everybody is running NFL-style offense and defensive schemes. Your junior year, you got to run an NFL-style offense under Coach Arth. How much of an adjustment was it for you during this week, learning terminology, or was everything familiar?
Yeah, it was pretty familiar, honestly, like you mentioned. I kind of had the experience to play in a pro-style system, and I played in 3 offenses in college. So for me, picking up a new one, I've kind of got some experience doing that. So they did a good job installing enough to make it challenging, kind of seeing how quickly we could pick it up. But, they didn't overload us. It was enough where we could do it, go execute in practice and do it in the game. You
know what it's like when you get to day one of camp, and then this week was an abbreviated version of that. You're 6'4", 225, big arm, you can run. How did you feel like you compared physically to the other quarterbacks that were there at the game? Yeah, I felt good. Obviously, it was a great group of guys, a lot of really talented players, had great college careers. We're all kind of in the same boat fighting, to climb up these boards. And, I think I did well. I think I held my own, all week long and kind of showed what I could do. So I felt good about it. Tell me one thing that surprised you during that week, whether it was your own play or things that you learned during the week that maybe were unexpected. Yeah, I think kind of the overall attitude of the guys. A lot of times you can come to these kind of events and there's a lot of egos and, a lot of guys out there with something to prove. But the guys were really cool. The team, we really bonded in the short time we had together. And kind of you can say the same for the coaches as well. We had Hall of Fame players as coaches, guys who coached in the league for a long time, and they were just so humble, so willing to kind of teach us and coach us and make sure we had a great experience, and they gave us, every tool that we needed to go forward and throughout this process. So you talked about some Hall of Famers that were your coaches during the week. Give me some examples of some guys at the quarterback positions you were able to learn from. Yeah, so, my quarterback coaches were Jeff Blake, who played in the league a long time, and a guy named Mike Bercovici, who played at Arizona State, and then hung around the league for a little bit, but then, on offense we had Kevin Mawai, Hall of Famer, Jackie Slater, Marvin Lewis, coached in the league for a long time, Anthony Beck played in the league for a long time, Santana Moss. There's a lot of really talented guys that football fans will know. Those are some big names. So we've got some highlights from the game, which obviously you won the MVP, and that's an impressive performance that caught a lot of people's attention. I want to go through some of these highlights and just talk through some of your big plays from the game. Okay, cool. Okay, now we'll get to this clip here, but you're under center, which you had a lot of experience your junior year. That's an adjustment for quarterbacks sometimes, being able to be under center and be able to function, getting in their drop, getting in good rhythm while also getting depth. For sure, it's different. Footwork's different, especially in the pass game. But, I like it. I think it gives you the ability to do a lot of different things. I think play action is way better under center. And, somewhere, like you said, I had a couple years experience doing that, so something I'm pretty comfortable with. Okay, now your guy makes a heck of a play here, but you fake ISO. It's a good play action fake here, but I love the ball placement. Yeah, so came out, shot play called obviously, and saw they were in cover 1 actually, and so kind of looking at the middle of field safety. He jumped the lower over route, and this backside corner actually did a great job kind of passing that over off and getting back. Almost made a play on me, but my guy he made a great play on the ball. So this check down throw, sliding within the pocket to avoid some pressure, turns into a big play. Talk me through the play call.
Yeah, so this right here actually was a screen to the halfback. So you know how that goes. You want to hold it as long as you can, kind of draw that rush to you, make them think it's a pass, and then dump it at the last second. So those guys, the line did a good job getting out, running back, reading the blocks, making a big play.
Off of these highlights, we see some deep shots. We see some movement within the pocket. We see your escapability. We see you make some good decisions. We see you deal with the bad snap. For an offense coordinator and for personnel people, they see a lot just in one All-Star game that shows them that you've got some composure. Let's talk about composure right quick. At any point in this game, did you feel like things were out of your control?
No, I felt really comfortable all night, to be honest. Was able to come out, I think, early in the game, get a couple completions, kind of get myself in rhythm. And, it's, played a lot. Feel like I've played a lot of football. You just gone out there and doing the same thing I've been doing for a long time. So I felt really comfortable with it, felt comfortable with the plays, what we were doing, the guys we had out there, and, just wanted to have fun with it.
So we're going to take a look at some of your post-game press conference. You're right there with Marvin Lewis, who has had an incredible career as an NFL head coach. And
sure. Now
working at Arizona State. This is a good opportunity for you to be in front of the media and in some national spotlight.
No doubt, yeah, for sure.
So, Nick, you're MVP here, having fun with your guys. A lot of these guys will play in the NFL with you. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, man, we just had a lot of fun. Like I said, that week we bonded more than I thought we would. It's a cool group of guys. We're all kind of on this same journey together. We got a lot to bond with and about, and it was just a really cool experience.
So, Nick, you had a member of the media ask you just an asinine question about who was the best player you played with and against during the week, which puts you in a really awkward spot. You're going to piss somebody off. I thought you handled it pretty well. Tell me what your thought process was there.
Yeah, you know how these guys are. You're going to get questions like that, especially playing quarterback in the NFL. Those guys answer a ton of questions, and a lot of them are kind of like this. And I think, you just try to find a way to deflect it, kind of give everybody the shine that they deserve, and, try not to make anybody too mad.
So during the week, you have all this practice time, then you play in the game. Kind of give me big picture. What were your takeaways from the game?
Yeah, it was really an awesome week. Honestly, the NFLPA did an amazing job. Guys, for next year, I would highly recommend them going to play in it. Because it was first class. Everything from the hotel, the practices, the gear we got, the coaches, the way they did the game. Everything was awesome. It was such a great learning experience. Football-wise, learning from those guys that we talked about, and then every night they would bring speakers in. They either played in the league or got financial guys that can help us all kind of through this journey. And really all this stuff was just invaluable. Stuff that you're not going to get anywhere else, and I can take so much away from it that'll help me going forward.
So you're doing your speed and explosion development with Landau Performance, which is a world-class facility here. They've got a fantastic track record of what they do with guys.
Sure. Doing
some QB training with Steve Fairchild, who's a former NFL offensive coordinator. What has this process been like for you?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I tell people all the time I get to wake up every day and be a football player. For the first time, there's no class, there's nothing else to do, and that's awesome. You get to wake up and do what you love every day, and I've loved it. Like you said, the guys at Landau, they do an incredible job. I felt like after the first week I was already faster, more athletic, more explosive. After 1 week, so now a month and a half in, I feel like my progress has been unbelievable. And then like you mentioned with Coach Fairchild, having the chance to work with him and kind of the resume he has, I think he's got so much to teach, so much I can take away, mentally and physically. He's seen a lot of guys do it and coached a lot of guys, and I think he sees the game kind of through a different lens than a lot of people do, and that's been cool for me to learn from.
Nick, one of my biggest pet peeves when I see this younger generation of guys coming up, this will make me sound like the old guy, but
yeah.
I feel like a lot of players getting ready for the NFL draft don't watch football.
For sure.
Which is mind-boggling to me. So I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
Are you a football fan? If so, who's your team? Tell me about growing up in terms of your experience watching football. How much ball did you watch?
Yeah, man. I've been a football fan my whole life. My dad's, he's nuts. He grew up a huge Steelers fan, kind of from the Northeast. And all my family up there are huge Pittsburgh Steelers fans. So I was kind of raised with that. Grew up in Tennessee, obviously, so I've always pulled for the Titans as well. But no, growing up, since I was 5 years old, I was always playing Madden or NCAA football. Never really wanted to play Call of Duty much. just never got into it. I've loved sports. When I was little, I'd watch Sports Center. That's what I wanted to do always. So, man, I've been a huge fan. Still keep up with it today. I probably got more jerseys in my closet from when I was a kid than, Dick's Sporting Goods does. So,
so this is highlights of Super Bowl 43, which is a victory for the Steelers, but the Cardinals were led by Kurt Warner, who was an FCS guy. And you think about Kurt Warner and Joe Flacco and Phil Simms all won Super Bowl rings. And you got Jimmy Garoppolo and Carson Wentz doing it now, and Tony Romo and Steve McNair had incredible careers. Tell our audience why you're going to be the next FCS quarterback to become great in the NFL. Why you? Yeah,
I think you can see it throughout history. Good football players come from every level, and I think evaluating quarterbacks is extremely hard for those guys. You can watch tape, but you don't know what the guy's like. And I think there's a lot of guys who can throw the ball well. There's a lot of athletic guys, and I certainly think I can do those things. But I think what separates me and what's going to give me a chance is mentally. Not only the smarts to pick up a playbook and read defenses and those kind of things, but kind of my drive. It's what I've wanted to do since I was 7 years old. I wanted to play in the NFL and be an NFL quarterback my whole life, and I've wanted to do whatever it takes, sacrifice whatever it takes, and do the things that a lot of guys don't want to do to be successful.
Let's talk about your recruiting path, because recruiting is
it's nuts.
It's absolute nonsense at the quarterback position sometimes. That's a whole nother soapbox we can get on, but you didn't start out at Chattanooga. Tell me what recruiting was like for you coming out of high school. How many D1 offers did you have, and how did you end up at Chattanooga?
Yeah, so I kind of got offers later than a lot of guys. I remember, my sophomore, junior year of high school, you're seeing a lot of quarterbacks get these big offers, committing all these big, SEC schools, living in the South, and started getting nervous, because I felt like I was good enough, but wasn't kind of getting the attention, and then finally broke through, got an offer from the University of Miami, and a lot of things kind of followed that. And then, Mississippi State offered me, and I went down and visited. Like I said, growing up in the South, being an SEC football fan, it was a perfect fit. And then, Dan Mullen was the head coach, and his quarterback track record speaks for itself. And the situation was really perfect. Dak Prescott was going into his senior season. I had the chance to go redshirt, learn from him, and then compete to be the starter as a freshman. So, there's not a lot of schools, especially Power 5, that you have the chance to do that. So for me, it was, it was close to home in the best conference in football, playing for a great head coach, and, it seemed like a perfect fit.
But it ended up not being a perfect fit.
It wasn't.
So I want to know three things. Why was it not a perfect fit? Do you want to go kick Dan Mullen's ass, or are you still buddies with him? And then what about Dak Prescott? He's a star player in the NFL. Are y'all still boys?
Yeah.
You know who it is if you text him? Tell me about your relationship with him as well.
For sure, yeah. So I still love Starkville, and I have great memories down there. When I left, I was probably a little bit pissed off, but in hindsight, I had a great time, great experience. Loved playing down there. The fan base, the school, it's a really cool place. And unfortunately, it didn't go my way. They went with another guy. He was only 1 year older than me. And I felt like I worked too hard and put too much into this to sit and watch somebody else play. And I wanted to play. As much as I hated to leave, it was really the only choice I had if I wanted to get on the field and have a chance to play at the next level. So that's what I did. Coach Mullen, as far as that goes, I think he's one of the best coaches in college football, honestly. At the time, I was probably a little upset that he didn't pick me, but at the end of the day, I learned a ton from him. He runs a great program, and you see the success he's having now in Florida. The guy is just a great coach. And then, Dak, that was an experience a lot of guys don't get to have, to go in and learn from a great one. You see the success he's having now to people who know him. That's no surprise. Just the type of guy he is and what he puts into it. So for me to get to kind of learn from that for a year at 18 years old was huge. Kind of set the tone for the rest of my career and the way that I worked and prepared, and all those kind of things. And Dak has been huge for me. He's always been in my corner. He's always somebody I know that is going to have my back and going to support me and be there to answer questions to help me out through this process. He's busy. He's got a lot going on. We don't talk all the time, but we do have a good relationship, and I'm thankful to know him.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the humility of that comes with transferring out. Here's a media quote. Freshman quarterback Nick Tiano is considered the future of Mississippi State football. So when the media is talking about that, and then fast forward and you end up back in Chattanooga, how did you process that emotionally?
Yeah,
because I think guys get to the NFL and have never really faced adversity. You caught it early. How did you deal with it?
Yeah, it was a big growing up moment for me. I was 18 years old and thought I was going to win the Heisman, like every kid in the country. So, put in all the work. All off season, felt like I prepared myself and gave myself every chance to be the starter. Like you said, the media, my family, friends, guys on the team, a lot of people thought that was the case. What you said, I would be the starter and I would play for a few years and it'd be a great career. Unfortunately, kind of went the other way. And it was very humbling. Like I said, I thought that I was going to be the guy. I was already thinking how many touchdown passes I was going to throw that season. And, it hit me pretty hard. And it was a pretty tough moment for me to realize, tough pill to swallow, that I wasn't the starter. I wasn't going to be the guy there, and I probably was never going to play there. For me, like I said earlier, I wanted to play. And I knew, going down a level would be a lot different from the experience as a player, the game day environment, all those kind of things. But for me, getting the chance to go play and start immediately in my hometown, the team, my family, my friends, everybody I know can come watch me on Saturdays and return it to a good program. It was a great opportunity, and I'm thankful that I did it. I think it was a good decision, and honestly, I don't think I would be who I am today if I didn't kind of go through that experience.
So, as you get ready for all these interviews at Pro Day and just sitting down one-on-one talking with player personnel directors and OCs and quarterback coaches and GMs and head coaches, somebody's going to ask you, are you going to be okay holding a clipboard? Because you weren't going to be okay at Mississippi State. You wanted the car keys. Well, we're not giving you effing car keys.
Yeah.
How are you going to answer that question?
Yeah, I think if you're a competitor, you want to play. That's just the bottom line. I think every guy in the league would tell you that. Everybody wants to start. Everybody wants to go make the plays. That's what you work to do. But at the end of the day, that's a very competitive league. There's a lot of good players. So as a young player going into the league, I don't necessarily think it's always a bad thing to go hold the clipboard and kind of learn and watch a veteran do it. You've seen that model works for a lot of guys. Yeah. And, like Patrick Mahomes, he had 16 weeks to sit and watch Alex Smith play. And, I don't know how much he would say that impacted him, but I'm sure it was a lot to learn from Andy Reid and watch another guy play. I think that's an invaluable experience. So, the competitor in you wants to play, but you kind of have to humble yourself and say it's a good experience and soak up everything you can and be prepared, because you may not get many opportunities. If you get to start one game or one series, you got to make the most of it.
All right, Nick. Junior year, Tom Arth is your head coach, former Peyton Manning backup. He's running pro-style stuff. You're under center, you're running stretch boot, you're faking ISO, you got some half roll, you're identifying fronts and setting your protections and doing all these NFL-type things.
Yep.
Flourish. He leaves. He gets an opportunity to go be the head coach at Akron. New staff comes in with Rusty Wright. Offense is different. Okay, I want you to compare and contrast those two systems, because you had pro-style as a junior, not pro-style, more of a spread-up tempo as a senior. There's a lot of difference there. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, so like you said, with Arth, it was a very quarterback-friendly offense. If you were a smart guy and you prepared well, I felt like it was something you could show up on Saturday and feel really confident in the game plan and what you were doing. I had full control, like you mentioned, with protections, run game IDs, routes. I could check whatever I wanted based on what I saw from the defense. And, they built the pass game in a way that every concept had an answer for every coverage. We weren't guessing. We weren't calling plays hoping to get covered two. Everything was built so that I knew where to go with the ball no matter what I got. And I loved that. I felt like I could prepare throughout the week and watch film and know, okay, if I get quarters versus this play, this is where I'm going with the ball. So that gives you a lot of confidence playing in the game. So, transition that into my senior season. We get a spread up tempo. Offensive coordinator come in. He's a great guy and a great coach. It's just a completely different philosophy. I couldn't check the protections or routes or anything like that. It was very different. We wanted to play fast. I think we did some good things with that. It was just very different. The playbook was trimmed down so that we could do that and go no huddle and be up tempo and kind of that be our edge. And we did have some success, but we also struggled because number one, the scheme was very different, and with coaching changes, that's tough on a team. And number two, we lost a lot of guys. We had 3 offensive linemen get hurt and had some walk-on guys in there playing. And then, we only had 1 receiver return that even caught a pass my junior year. So we had a bunch of new guys playing, some transfer guys that showed up right before fall camp started. So there wasn't a lot of time to build any chemistry or kind of work with those guys. So, we struggled early in the season. It was tough for everybody. So I think towards the end of the season we improved a little bit, but no, it was very different and it was tough for sure.
Okay, so let's go back to 2018. Running pro-style stuff with a veteran group of players, right? You get the opportunity to play South Carolina and LSU, both programs loaded with dudes, right? No offense to UT Martin, but this ain't UT Martin.
Yeah.
Okay, and these games are on the road.
For sure.
Right? and you're being protected by offensive linemen, who I'm sure are your boys, but they weren't SEC offensive linemen.
Yep.
And you kicked ass. You made some big-time throws that we're going to talk about here. Before we start rolling the clips, tell me what those two games meant to you, regardless of, scoreboard, but what did those two games mean to you in terms of a player?
Yeah, I mean, those were two games I couldn't wait to play just because, the day I left Mississippi State, I had a chip on my shoulder. That's the level I was supposed to be playing at, And so showing up to these games, I felt like that's where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be playing these guys every Saturday. Yeah. So for me, that's where I wanted to be. That's the environment I wanted to be playing in. And, that was a game I was comfortable, I was excited about. We didn't play in these environments every Saturday. Sure. We had 10,000 people, not 100. So, for me, that's what I wanted to be, and that's what I felt like I should have been in. And so I knew it was a huge opportunity for me to go play and have that experience.
Cool. We've got some clips here using some motion. Okay, now this is you buying time, throw it off your back foot for the first down. Walk me through your thought process here.
Yeah, so we shifted trips, motion the tight end back across, kind of see coverage, looks like zone. So we got cover 3. We've got a sail concept over here, post sail with the flat route. That flat defender was hanging a little low. I knew if I could buy some time, there's going to be a big window over there on the sideline. So
no fear of throwing off your back foot. Off of a 5-step drop, getting out of the pocket a little bit, throwing off your back foot.
That stuff happens.
Throw a dart.
That's game reps. Yeah, you know how it goes.
Up tempo, fast. Get the line of scrimmage. Let's run it. Let's go. Let's gas the defense. Junior year, we're pro style. Talked a little bit about during our break about motions and how motions give us clues as quarterbacks and allow us to find some leverage and mismatches. Talk about what you learned and what you utilized against South Carolina and LSU in terms of motions.
Yeah, for sure. You watch games on Sundays. That's what everybody does, on every snap. So, for us, we use it against everybody, but especially these, when you're playing these SEC teams, we're outmatched, just naturally. This is the truth. So we use shifts and motions to get leverage. If they want to play press man, motion a guy across the formation, he can't press, so finding ways to get those leverages, get those favorable matchups to give us a chance to kind of get open and win on some routes.
Okay. When you think about all of the mental piece of it, you still got to go make the throw. In the first clip, protection breaks down. You got to roll your shoulders, flip your hips. You're throwing off your back foot. You don't have as much margin of error against those teams as you do other teams. Now, as a senior, you throw 6 picks. There's a lot of scouts and coaches going to be wanting to know, why in the hell did you throw 6 picks at the FCS level? Okay? And we're not trying to sell out, throw anybody under the bus, but I got to think some of those are ricochets because I'm seeing some big arm strength here.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously some of them are on me, no doubt. But, I think if you go back and watch the picks from my senior season, I think at least half of them were tip balls, off receivers, hitting a guy and tips up and gets picked. Or had a couple that were wrong routes. I'm throwing it, the guy's supposed to run a curl, and he keeps running straight. So a couple little things like that. Looks bad on the stat sheet, but unfortunately it's kind of out of my hands. So,
tell me about mindset. You throw a pick. Nick Tiano throws a pick. That's on you. You get to the sideline. What's your thought process? What's going through your brain?
Yeah, obviously it's a cliche, but next play. Next play mentality. Every quarterback in America throws picks. Tom Brady's thrown pick sixes. Everybody's done it. So it's part of the game. You're going to make those mistakes. You just got to limit them. And, the next drive's huge. I think the next throw is huge. If you walk out there and that next throw, you're kind of timid, you're going to miss, and you're probably going to throw another one. So, I always try to convince myself to go out there and just rip one. Whatever I throw next, just rip it with confidence.
So, a good buddy of mine, Matt Bowen, he's an analyst for ESPN, played 7 years in the league. He and I were talking one night, and he told me this, and it's always stuck with me. In his mind, the highest form of compliment in the National Football League is to be known as a guy who's tough.
Yeah.
You're a big dude. Almost 6'5", 230-plus pounds. Do you feel like teams know your toughness? How tough are you?
Yeah,
in terms of being able to take a hit.
I think, playing quarterback is obviously not the most physical position on the field, but I think you need to be the toughest player on the team. For me, I'm not a very loud vocal leader. I like to lead through the way that I play, the way that I work, kind of pulling guys along with me. But I think toughness is a way to lead as a quarterback. You stand in the pocket and make a throw and take a hit. You earn a lot of respect from the guys up front, the guys catching the ball, the guys on the sideline. You show you can do that play in and play out. Those guys are going to respect the heck out of you.
do a little role play right quick. So I am 35-year-old veteran offensive lineman. I got a wife, 4 kids, a mortgage, bunch of car payments, and I'm looking to hang on for another year or two. You're this young buck coming in my huddle with 9 other teammates, and we're all looking at you. How do you convince me that you're the guy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the cool thing about the NFL. There's a lot of guys from a lot of different backgrounds. You know, I could be 23 and he could be 35, like you mentioned, different stages of life, but we're on the same team, pursuing the same goal. And I think the key to that's just showing confidence. You know, if you walk in there scared, he's going to see it. All those guys are going to see it. You know, so you got to walk in there and show them you're the man, basically. You know, not be cocky, not be arrogant, but show that you have the confidence to lead them and do what they want to do and give them a chance to hang on and keep making some money and playing.
Big-time receiver, because there's not an NFL team that doesn't have at least one big-time receiver, big egos.
Yep.
Contractually, they want the football. That's how those dudes get paid. They need their touches. One of those guys makes a mistake, runs a shitty route, drops a ball. How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, my style for that has always been pulling them aside. You know, I've never been one for publicly, you know, getting on guys, yelling at guys. That's just not me. I feel like that doesn't work as often because I can shut some guys down. So I like to pull them aside. You know, I'll take the blame. You know, if I throw a pick and he ran the wrong route, you know, it's my bad, dude. And then on the sideline, I'm going to go talk to him and try to get on the same page with him, tell him, you know, no big deal, get back at it next play, stay in the game, I'm coming to you again. Kind of instill confidence in those guys. You know, I think the only time that's necessary to kind of, you know, almost be an asshole is effort, you know, because that's something they can control. These guys are going to drop balls, a lineman going to miss blocks, but you know, effort's one thing that you got to bring that every play, you know.
Yeah. Tell me about your study habits. Clearly, under Coach Arth's system, you had to spend some time in this bad boy, and that's what it's going to look like when you get to the NFL. It's the big binder, right? And you've got to know your stuff, and you got to know it quickly.
Yep.
How did you learn? How do you learn? Are you an on-the-field learner? Do you like stuff on paper? Are you a video guy? How do you best learn?
Yeah, I mean, I think all those things help for sure, but I like seeing things on paper. You know, when I can read through, you know, I like to get the script before practice and read through every play out loud, kind of get comfortable with that and the verbiage of that, and kind of go through it in my head, kind of visualize, okay, you know, we're in trips, this is my read, going left to right, you know, whatever it may be. For me, kind of going through that mentally prepares me so when I step on the field, I feel like I can play fast.
Game planning with your offensive coordinator, how much input do you like to have?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like to tell them, you know, my first couple years at Chattanooga, they did a great job of kind of asking my input. You know, 3rd and 5, what do you like? 3rd and 10, what do you like? You know, red zone, we're on the 10. What's your top couple passes? They took my input on that, and they would call them in the game, stuff that I was comfortable with and confident in. And I think that's huge. When you're a player and you got a coach that cares what you have to say, I mean, that gives you a lot of confidence, and you know, kind of trust goes both ways. So that shows a lot. And you know, makes you feel really good about what you're doing.
Nick, the ball's on the 50. We're late in the first half. It's 3rd and 15. We're trying to get in the field goal range. You're going to see a cover 4 look, probably some heat off the edge, under front. Draw that up and draw me your best play.
Okay. So here, I'm getting call this bunch trio right. This is our formation. You know, 3-by-1, always light. Let's see. You want the whole defense structure here? All right.
Yeah, show me what you got.
Okay. So everybody. So I would like to go right here, you know, expecting quarters.
Yep.
It's a concept we ran a lot, called a wide boat X in. So right here, you know, you're going to have the 14-yard sail route, outside guy, you know, running a post. You know, you really might get that versus quarters, not looking at it versus any other coverage. You're going to have your flat route right here. We just kind of stall him off the ball, you know, bursting out for timing. And then backside, we go X in, 15-yard in, you know, kind of get back too late. You know, obviously with the down and distance, he's getting the yardage, back checking protection, and working this outside option off the will. So, you know, kind of read this top down. We're looking at this safety. You know, if he gets depth or at all or is hanging, you're going to have this pretty easy. If he wants to jump this, you got the post for a touchdown. Kind of just reading this just top down all the way. If you don't like anything you're getting over here, this Mike's probably going to push to the field. You kind of got a 2-on-1 on this will, so if he wants to sit in this window, you can get the back. But if he wants to tag on, which he probably will, you got a big window for this backside end.
Nice job. Field goals don't win playoff games. Field goals don't win Super Bowls. Field goals don't get you paid. You got to score. So here's our scenario. It's 4th and goal from the 10. Okay. I want you to draw up your best route concept to get us in the end zone to win it.
Yeah. So down here, kind of expecting press man. So I like to get this bunch set over here, makes them tough to press because they can get rub routes, all that kind of stuff. So corners can be outside leverage. This is your win route. Got a stud out here. I'm going to press his leverage outside and then snap that thing off, trying to hit in that window before he gets to the safety. This middle guy, we put him, we call it a dip route. Versus zone is kind of a double move. In man, he doesn't have to do that. He's really just holding the safety so he doesn't get involved in this. And then number 3 right here, call this an arrow return. So he's selling out, get this guy running and then, putting on the brakes, coming back inside underneath, around 5 yards. Backside, we just tack a fade. You got a stud over there. You can take him always in man. But for me right here, I'm thinking, hold this safety. You got outside leverage. This guy's got to win. Press his leverage, snap it off. Should have a big play. High ball in the red zone. So none of these guys can get involved and they'll win the game.
Pre-snap, tell me how you're going to manipulate this safety.
Just hold my eyes down the middle. Through the drop. I'm going to take a rhythm three drop. Throw this off the back foot, or throw this off the back step. Just holding him down the middle, hit the top of the drop and get it out on time. And there's no way you can get in on it.
Nick, tell me who in the NFL you would kind of compare your game to in terms of like your stature, your physical ability, how you approach things. Like who's the guy where you're like, that's me?
Yeah, I always liked watching Andrew Luck. Try to kind of model him the way he played from the pocket, but also had the athleticism to go pick up first downs, with his legs, and kind of the toughness he played with. He's a pocket passer, but he'd stand in there and take a beating, and he did that for a lot of years in Indianapolis, and he's an unbelievable player, obviously, but kind of his approach, super smart dude, very prepared on Sundays, got the ball out on time, very accurate, made big plays. Like I said, stood in the pocket, was tough, ran when he needed to, kind of did all those things that, it takes to be a great one in the league.
But you're not modeling your beard game after him because he had the neck thing going on. Yours is way better.
Try to keep it clean.
Okay, so if we can model everything else,
we'll
be in good shape. There's a lot of guys that are in this draft class that have been invited to the NFL Combine, and you haven't gotten that invite yet. A, how's that make you feel? B, what is your mentality as you prepare for your pro day coming up?
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating. It's a lot of talented guys, of course. I definitely feel like I belong in that group, so it was frustrating to not get that invite, but it's part of the process. There's things throughout this that are out of your control. You got to take them one by one. That's just kind of part of it. It's going to be part of the journey. Adds to the chip on my shoulder. Got to keep working, keep proving people that I should be higher than where I am right now.
So we have this young rock star generation of quarterbacks. You got Deshaun Watson doing crazy stuff. He is a leader, and obviously with Patrick Mahomes. When you think about those two guys and the other young quarterbacks that are coming up that are soon to take the reins from Drew Brees and Tom Brady, because eventually those dudes, I think, are going to retire before they hit age 50. Sure. At some point, those dudes are going to retire.
Yep.
There's this next generation. Tell me a couple of qualities that you feel like put you in that discussion.
Yeah, I think the league is kind of transitioning. The quarterbacks are more athletic. Those guys you named, Deshaun Watson, Pat Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. Guys it's kind of trending towards athletes playing quarterback. And so I think to play today, you do need to be able to run a little bit. I don't think everybody has to be Lamar Jackson, but you do need to be able to move around because these edge rushers, these linebackers are also athletic. They're getting to you quick. Sometimes you got to get out of there and make a play. So I think I do bring a little more athleticism than people may know to the table to kind of to fit in with those guys and play. And I think the league is kind of heading that way, and you need to have that to play quarterback.
If an NFL GM walks in this room and they're thinking about drafting you, making a financial and team investment in you, what's one thing they need to know about you that maybe they don't?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think I'd just like them to know, which, a lot of guys are going to say this, but that's my lifelong dream. I'm going to put everything into it. It's what I've wanted to do since I was 5 years old. I'm going to do everything I can. If you give me an opportunity, step on that field and stay there as long as I can. I'm going to try to hang around and play football as long as I can. It's what I want to do. So, you're getting a guy that's going to do everything it takes.
Well, I think you've made it clear today in our show you're a warrior. I'm excited about seeing you walk your warrior path. Best of luck.
Appreciate it, Warren. Thank you.
Yep.